You ready for the best in Sooner football recruiting news? Then it's time to get locked in with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Whether you're a recruiting doomer or sunshine pumper, text the guys on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439. And call your shot on the Riverwind Casino jackpot line at 405-329-9000.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Hope you all had a phenomenal Easter weekend. I know I did. Mr. Singleton, how was yours?
It was a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. I don't get to see my parents very often, so anytime that I can head down to the DFW and kick it with them for a couple days, it's always nice. What's going on, man?
Man, another day, another dollar, as they say. What was the Easter fair like yesterday?
The Easter fair?
Yes, as in food.
Oh, okay. That is not terminology I am familiar with. But my mom made a roast.
Okay.
That was excellent. And
Good
then she
stuff.
did some spinach pasta and something else a salad, and then something else that I didn't eat. So it was a nice little lunch for sure. Took some leftovers back like one does when you go visit the parents. So
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, how was y'all's cranberry relish?
We didn't actually have cranberry relish. That was not on the Easter menu. The Easter menu changed this year. My parents evidently decided to innovate a little bit.
Okay.
I think I made it 27 years of life without ever eating a lamb chop. But we had lamb chops.
You've
on Easter
never had a
yesterday.
lamb chop?
I don't think so.
Well, what'd you think?
I mean, I've had lamb. You know, I've had like gyros and stuff. I never had like an actual lamb chop off the bone.
Yeah.
It was pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting meat. It's almost got like a sweetness to it that can be kind of off-putting.
Yes. See, I like it in the form of lamb chops. I do not like ground lamb.
Really?
I tried ground lamb one time. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten.
I can imagine. You know, we should just stick to ground beef and all other meats, we eat them in their pure form, their pure essence.
Ground turkey isn't that bad.
Really? What do you use ground turkey for?
Same thing you use ground beef.
So you just make like turkey burgers, basically?
Yeah. There's just a little more protein and a little less fat in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like me some turkey. Not sure whether I would want a burger with a turkey patty.
Now, I will say, you got to season the hell out of ground turkey.
I bet you do.
Otherwise, it's not very good.
It's not a very naturally flavorful
No.
meat. That is for sure.
I saw the one texter that wanted the Poo Shisty update. At some point in the hour, we should get to that.
Good grief. Fill us in. Why don't you? Please.
You want to do it right now?
What's going on with Poo Shisty? What do we need to know?
Well, he and 8 other people. So, rewinding back to Friday, if you missed it, Poo Shisty was arrested because he kidnapped Gucci Mane, who is another rapper. They are now he and 9 defendants are being federally charged with kidnapping and conspiracy to commit kidnapping, which faces a maximum sentence of up to life in prison. Now, here's the funny part. You want to know how the police caught these dudes? They used data and location tracking from Poo Shisty's ankle monitor.
Oh, good grief.
Because he was already out. I can't remember what charge he caught before this one, but he was already out on parole or something in Memphis, by the way, when this robbery happened in Dallas, just so we're clear on everything. So he was somewhere where he wasn't supposed to be, and that's how they caught him, because they tracked the ankle monitor.
Listen.
And social media posts, because some of the assailants also posted, according to Fox 4, several defendants allegedly posted photos and videos on social media displaying the stolen jewelry.
Oh, my goodness. Listen, I don't dabble in the illegal, but for those of you that do, I'm gonna give you a nickel's worth of free advice. If you're going to commit a crime, do not have your cell phone on your person at the time of the crime, because that is the easiest way in today's day and age to link you to the scene and the time of said crime.
And maybe don't go committing more crimes while you're strapped with an ankle monitor.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest, just the most straightforward advice you can give is don't commit crimes.
I mean, okay,
but
yes, sure.
there are those who are inclined to do so anyway. And if you're going to do so anyway, just don't be stupid about it. That's arguably even more unforgivable than the actual crime. It's one thing to commit a crime. It's one thing to commit a crime and be stupid about it.
If you are dumb enough to commit a crime, at least be smart enough to halfway get away with it.
Zach from Guthrie says, Parker the Lamb comment reminded me of my P.F. Chang's experience that I had with Lamb. I also remember you mentioning that you won't go back to P.F. Chang's. That is true. Got food poisoning there. He said, my experience was eating lamb, then shortly after getting up from the table and rushing to the bathroom and vomiting all over the floor before I made it there. Good grief, Zach. P.F. Chang's, what is it? What is it about P.F. Chang's? Has the quality fallen that far over the last decade?
I haven't been there in a minute, but the last time I went there, it was pretty good.
Did P.F. Chang's low-key fall off? Has there been a fall off? Let us know. 405-651-3439 is the First Liberty Bank text line, which you can use. You have free reign to use the First Liberty Bank text line to send in whatever comments and or questions you may have over the course of the show, whether they are on topic or not. We try to talk primarily football and recruiting on this show. Sometimes we get off track. Sometimes we wind up going down rabbit holes that we could not have envisioned at the start of the show, but that's what makes it fun, and you all are along for the ride with us, which we appreciate immensely. The show is brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Family-owned and operated. Many of Dorsey Jones' employees have been with the company for 20-plus years, so experienced folks that are eager to serve you before, during, and after the buying process and offer you outstanding service after your purchase as well. So head out to El Reno and check out Dorsey Jones. Post-Easter, Mr. Singleton, we are less than 2 weeks away from the spring game at the University of Oklahoma.
Yeah, we are.
And so we might be exactly at the halfway point. Yes, spring practice started 12 days ago. It is 12 days until the spring game. So, what would you consider at the halfway point of spring practice to be some of the more important details / themes that have come out of OU camp to this point?
Well, I'll tell you what, your colleague at OU Insider, Brandon Drum, put together an incredible compilation of nuggets. The wide receiver group. That wide receiver group might be the most productive since 2023. That's something to keep an eye on. Now, it'll remain to be seen what kind of a job John Mateer does getting the ball to them. But when you look at this wide receiver core, you've got a combination of size, skill, and playmaking with the three guys of Parker Livingston, Trell Harris, who has not participated in spring, and Isaiah Satania, not to mention younger guys coming up the ranks as well. So they're really deep there and incredibly skilled. Now, with Trell, they held Livingston out of the scrimmage, from what I read.
That is correct.
You got to make sure you keep these guys healthy and really approach this with an abundance of caution, because we don't want a repeat of a couple of years ago or anything approximating that. But if you can keep all those guys healthy, I think that is a place that is going to be a conspicuous improvement for Oklahoma this year, is that they're going to have a dynamic wide receiver core for the first time in a few years.
You know what's crazy is there are always a few guys every single spring that really flash, they really pop, they have solid springs, and it's like, where did that come from? Who on earth is this guy? And in the wide receiver room, I think we all have the understanding, we all have the expectation that the starting group is going to consist of Trell Harris, Parker Livingston, and Isaiah Satania. You're going to see a lot of Manny Choice. You're hopefully going to see some Elijah Thomas, maybe some Jahsir Rogers, some Jacob Jordan, certainly. But within that wide receiver group, the one guy that has really, really turned heads to this point in spring that probably wasn't expected to do so, at least not to this extent, even within the building, is that Washington State transfer, Mackenzie Allen. Redshirt sophomore, walked on at Wazoo under Ben Arbuckle and that Washington State offensive staff in the fall of 2024. So there was that familiarity there. That's part of the reason he chose Oklahoma when he got in the transfer portal this past offseason. But redshirted as a true freshman, barely did anything as a redshirt freshman due to injuries, had a couple nice catches in Washington State's bowl game. Then he hits the portal, lands down at Oklahoma. And look, so much of spring practice buzz can be misconstrued. And I think that's largely due, not exclusively due, but largely due to a combination of ignorance and just willful misconstrual, if that is a word, of some of the things that come out of spring practice. Like, what I don't want to suggest, and I don't want to be misinterpreted at all here, so I will just be very candid. If Mackenzie Alene sees major time for Oklahoma this fall, that's still going to be surprising to me and many others, with as deep as Oklahoma is at that position and how difficult it's going to be for anybody outside that projected too deep to elbow their way into the mix. But Mackenzie Alene is somebody that has had a really good spring to this point. Does that translate on Saturdays? In 2026, I'm still skeptical. But to me, man, and this is kind of the comparison I made just talking about that kid in the series of practices that he has had, a really strong series of practices. Was discussing this over the weekend with a couple folks, and I think in Mackenzie Alene, Oklahoma got what they envisioned Josiah Martin was going to be. And Josiah Martin never caught a pass as an Oklahoma Sooner. In fact, I think he only appeared in 2 games in his lone season with the program last year. But Josiah Martin was brought in to be a developmental slot guy, chain mover, target machine that probably wasn't going to burst onto the scene in a real productive fashion and wasn't going to need to for at least a year or two down the line. Oklahoma didn't bring in Josiah Martin to make an impact in 2025. They brought Josiah Martin in with the impression, with the expectation that he was going to build toward making an impact in 26 and 27, hopefully. That didn't happen for Martin. There are a number of reasons for that, but he was one and done at Oklahoma. Hit the portal this offseason, landed back at North Texas in his hometown of Denton. Hope it works out for him there. But Alene is somebody that, because of the presence of Isaiah Satania, as well as the presence of Jacob Jordan, is probably not going to see a ton of snaps this fall, even with as solid as he has been to this point. But it's helpful to know a couple of things. One, if the injury bug bites that room and bites hard, he's somebody that's capable. He earned praise from the head ball coach, unsolicited praise from the head ball coach last week when Brent Venables met with the media. He shouted out Mackenzie Alene as somebody that's been reliable and been resilient. And the demands of the offense and of the position he's playing, they haven't been too much for him at a place like Oklahoma. And so, to me, that's a guy whose name I think you make a mental note of and you loop back around, certainly to see where he's at in fall camp come August. But even if you don't see 17 much, if at all, on the field in 2026, that's somebody that once Isaiah Satania graduates at the end of this upcoming season could make that step forward, could make that leap, and become a productive guy for Oklahoma at wide receiver in 2027.
I mean, especially because he's already earned the trust of the staff. I mean, Brent Venables would not go out of his way to say what he said about Mackenzie Alene. Alene. Okay, my mistake. But about Mackenzie Alene, if he wasn't actually turning heads and showing that he had the prospect of becoming a trustworthy, reliable wide receiver in the years to come. So I do think that is an actual positive thing coming out because, I mean, wide receivers is a position where you can undergo some turnover, and Satania is going to leave, Trell is going to leave. So you're going to want some other guys in the mix that haven't just gotten there as well. So I think that's an interesting development.
Mm-hmm. And again, folks, I want to make sure we carefully distinguish between the empirical and the hypothetical, because so many folks get lost in the twilight zone between these two things. I and others say a guy like Mackenzie Alene is having a good spring, which he is. And there are some that inevitably hear, and despite all of what I've just said for the last 5 minutes, they will still hear, oh, Mackenzie Alene's going to be a dude for Oklahoma in 2026. Should expect him to see the field and make an impact. And then, of course, once December rolls around and he's had 5 or 6 catches all season, everybody's like, well, we really do have the worst group of beat writers in the entire country. I was told Mackenzie Aline was going to be a superstar at Oklahoma, and he's just riding the bench. So he's having a good spring. There are other guys on this team that are having a good spring that still have a long, long way to go to actually get snaps for this team in the fall. But it's never a bad thing, Grayson, when the guys that you didn't expect to be turning heads and making waves in spring ball are turning heads and making waves in spring ball.
I mean, it means you have strength in numbers, like what the Warriors had a few years ago. I mean, depth is going to matter. Now, obviously, if Mackenzie Aline sees the field, that means something has gone catastrophically wrong. But if something does go catastrophically wrong and you've got more dudes back there, like think about this. If you get to your 5th or 6th receiver, how many schools are there around the country that actually feel good about that situation? But if you're Oklahoma and you've got to throw a guy in there like Mackenzie Aline and you look back to spring and say, wait a minute, this dude can actually play and he's shown something, we might be okay. So it's not a huge deal, but it's something to just stash back there in your mind, in the back of your mind, and if it happens to come up, oh, wait, this guy had a pretty good spring, maybe we'll be all right.
There are many that are very understandably going to be hesitant to drink the Kool-Aid on this wide receiver group because of the issues with depth that have existed in years past under Emmett Jones' direction, and obviously part of that has been injuries, but I think there are so many that are down on Emmett Jones in the receiver room as a whole because of what has happened the last 2 seasons. And I acknowledge a lot of that is natural. A lot of that is very understandable. And by no means am I trying to compel you to drink the Kool-Aid ahead of schedule on this receiver room. But for me, man, I think this is going to be a really strong unit in 2026. And it comes down to, can the guy pulling the trigger get the ball to his playmakers? There's a symbiotic relationship there. Those receivers make John Mateer better. John Mateer makes those receivers better. And if John Mateer is all that he's cracked up to be in 2026, regardless of who the lead dog is in that room, and I would still give the edge to Isaiah Satania in that regard, but regardless of who the lead dog is in that wide receiver room or who's the most productive or how evenly spread the distribution of targets is, I think Oklahoma's going to get what they need out of that receiver unit in 2026. 405-651-3439 is the First Liberty Bank text line. So much more OU football and recruiting talk coming your way over the course of the hour here on Locked In. Parker Thune, Grayson Singleton here with you in the Buffalo Wild Wings studios. Keep it right here. More ahead. This is The Ref.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
When the thunder rolls in this spring,
Riverwind is where you want to be.
Enjoy classic table games like blackjack and roulette.
Or your choice of nearly 3,000 of your favorite electronic games.
we'll bring the best food, drinks, and service right to your seat.
We're giving away $80,000 in rain or shine riches every Friday in April.
So play with your wild card all month long, and you could win big.
Only at Riverwind Casino.
A public service announcement from Oklahoma Human Services. Hey Oklahomans, did you know updating your SNAP food benefits info is a snap? Have you changed jobs or hours? Has your monthly cost of housing changed? Have your household members changed? Maybe you've recently moved. If you're a recipient of SNAP benefits in Oklahoma, visit okdhslive.org to update your information. That's okdhslive.org. It's a SNAP, Oklahoma.
Insurance companies aren't in the business of saving you money, they're in the business of taking your money. Hi, this is Will Gosney with Yala Gosney Attorneys at Law. Have you ever had an insurance claim and thought, wow, I really am in good hands, or these folks truly are treating me like a neighbor? Well, that's where we can help. We'll deal with the stress, we'll get you back to your normal life. So save our number in your phone, and if you're ever hurt in a wreck, Call or text us at 405-800-8080. It's 405-800-8080.
Hi, everybody. Toby Rowland here for one of my favorite places to golf, the Trails Golf Club in Norman. The Trails offers great golf activities for the entire family. Men's and Ladies Golf Association events, summer junior golf for the kids, plus club fittings throughout the year. The Trails also has great family social events, monthly special dinners, plus holiday brunches and catering. When you're looking for the perfect place to golf, check out the Trails Golf Club in Norman. Contact Zane Alexander today at 405-364-3790 or visit trailsgolf.com.
Imagine a backyard designed just for you. With Signature Custom Pools, luxury meets craftsmanship to create your outdoor retreat. Every detail is tailored to elevate your lifestyle. Whether you're celebrating special occasions, making lifelong memories, or escaping to a quiet oasis, their experienced design team brings your vision to life. Plan now so you can be swimming and making memories soon. Call 405-898-9098 for your free consultation or visit signaturecustompools.com. Signature Custom Pools. Experience the signature touch.
It's that time of year to get to the ballpark, and that's something to smile about. Craig and Straight Orthodontics wants to help you and your family every step of the way to a beautiful smile. Craig and Straight has 3 conveniently located offices in Norman, Mustang, and South Oklahoma City. Check out their website at craigandstraight.com or give them a call to schedule your free consultation. You'll soon be on your way to a smile that you have always wanted. At Craig and Straight Orthodontics, we want to see you smile, Oklahoma.
Looking for a fun night out with the whole family? Join Meals on Wheels of Norman for our first ever family game night fundraiser, Saturday, April 11th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Norman Masonic Lodge number 38. Enjoy bingo, family feud, and great prizes, all while helping provide meals for seniors in our community. Get your tickets today at mealsonwheelsnorman.com. First responders receive a special discount. This ad is sponsored by Bear Property Management. Call 366-RENT for all of your management and leasing needs.
No matter where you live, you care about one thing during bad weather: keeping your family and property safe. Scissortail Roofing and Construction is here to ensure just that. Whether it's damage from strong winds or a hailstorm, we will manage your residential or commercial project from start to finish. Call us today, 405-928-8089, or visit us online at scissortailroofing.com for a free estimate. Call Scissortail today, your trusted local roofing and construction company.
If I removed the obvious from the equation, Grayson, and told you there is no practice availability and or post-practice interviews later today at the illustrious University of Oklahoma, and I asked you to guess how I'm going to be spending my afternoon and evening, what would your guess be?
Maybe an onion burger?
Oh, my goodness, I wish. Don't I wish. Little onion burger on a Monday night. Right, shoot, by the end of it, I might be headed for an onion burger with what I have on the docket.
What do you got?
I'm going to be playing Exterminator when I get home.
With who? Like just you and your wife? Playing Exterminator? Like actually getting rid of bugs or something?
Yeah, is Exterminator a game?
I figured that was some kind of game or something.
Yes, no, I'm going to be playing the role of Exterminator.
Okay,
out in my
no, my brain just turned off for 1 second. Okay,
yes.
My bad. Okay, what y'all got up in what y'all got in the house?
So just discovered nothing in the house, thankfully. Just discovered.
Oh, this will be good.
Last night that out in our shop, which I'm having some work done in later this week, as we begin the process of getting it fully developed. Out in the shop, we have mice. And so I had one of those. Last night I'd flick on the light in the shop and see a mouse scurry into the corner, and we've been homeowners for like a year and a half. We're still pretty new to the whole operation. I've never had to do this before. But, you have one of those Kevin McAllister moments where, like, this is my house. I have to defend it. And so I went to Walmart this morning and dropped $70 on all manner of extermination tools. And so I beat one mouse to death with a broom last night in the shop. I tell you, Mice are like, gosh, what's a good OU football comp? Kennedy Brooks. Kennedy Brooks is great at running in traffic, but out in the open field, you could chase him down.
So in that,
and so with a mouse, we don't have a lot in our shop, and I had to clear everything out of it anyway because getting ready to have this construction guy come in and do some remodeling work in there for us, renovation work, I should say, but. There's not a whole lot in there right now for mice to hide behind, and mice thrive navigating traffic, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Like they got stuff to hide behind, hide under. They can be tough little suckers to catch.
Mm-hmm.
But you get them out in the open, they're not very fast. And they're also very small. So you can cover the same ground with one footstep that a mouse will cover in a second or two at running at full speed. And so, yeah, I got this mouse out in the open, and I bludgeoned it to death.
Okay.
That was the tone setter.
Two things. How many more mice are in there? And are you trying to do like a Sooner Magic Shed like Dari has?
I'm unfamiliar with Dari's Sooner Magic Shed. I guess I don't listen to his show enough.
Oh, I guess you don't. It's where he does the show from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, there's definitely there will be some office space out there for me.
Gotcha.
Getting like walls and insulation put in. It already has lighting, but, just basically turning it into a functional multi-purpose space that we can heat and cool and that is actually livable as opposed to just being a giant wide open storage space.
Yeah,
and so, but yeah, that was the tone setter for what lies ahead. Wanted to establish my dominion over that territory with the violent death of the first shop mouse.
How many more are there?
I don't know. It's
Okay.
hard to know, but we're about to find out. And any that remain, they're getting hunted.
The First Liberty Bank text line is telling you to get a cat,
Which I can't do.
Why?
I can't. I'm allergic to cats.
Oh.
Can't do that.
Well, Dan in Madison, Mississippi says, Parker catch a good rat snake. Problem solved.
Oh, man. That would probably that better than a cat. But what do you do? Like, how do you keep a snake? Like, what is he suggesting? Just toss a snake in the shop and let it hang there for a week and take care of business?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna stick with glue traps and peppermint oil. Seems like a more effective and far easier way to go about the task at hand. I don't know whether I want to figure out how to get my hands on a rat snake. Anybody got rat snakes hanging around in their backyard that they want to lend me one?
Shoot, you might. With as much land as you got.
Trucker B says, I'm calling PETA on you, Parker. Bring it on. I'll take him down.
The text line and the YouTube chat also is taking my brain fart to other directions.
Oh, gosh. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
Yeah, just look at Recruiting Boomer's text.
What did Recruiting Boomer say? I lost the text. You're going to have to bring me up to speed.
Do you want me to read this?
Okay. Nope, I just found the text. Never mind. Never mind. Yep, that's not making air. Denver from Indiana says, in our house, the missus handles mouse issues. Yuck. No. I'll fight a bear, but the hell with mice. I hear you. I mean, we all have our aversions, right? I don't mind going toe-to-toe with mice.
No.
I mean, if we're talking about rats, that's a different ballgame. I'd probably hire somebody to take care of the issue at hand if we were dealing with rats. But I don't know. I mean, practically, they're not all that different. Rats are just much larger, but I don't mind dealing with mice. Crimson Raven says, just look under your house. Rat snakes usually live there. Well, if they live there, they ain't doing their job.
Justin in Coweta says, I named my rat snake Lincoln Riley. Well done.
Good work, Justin in Coweta. Just got a text from one of my good buddies and an occasional source down in southeast Oklahoma. said, OU commit Graydon Howell won the 100 and 200 meters at Plainview last week with some big schools like Norman there. He flew in the 200 in the win. That's always good.
There you go.
Always good to know that the next generation of Sooners is running fast and jumping high and is multi-sport athletic profiles. I'm not really sure what comes next for Oklahoma in the 2027 cycle after the addition of Isaac Cochran. We know there are some things that are still out there for OU, no question. They got to close the deal with Bodie Sparrow. Absolutely. They got to close the deal with Sione Falila, the 3-star defensive lineman from the state of California. No question. Still working, still fighting with a couple of local targets. Case Alexander comes to mind. I tell you, man.
Well, Gus Corsair, too.
Gus Corsair, yep. Up there in Hayes, 4 hours away or so. Maybe it's 5. Les, you would know better than me. How far is it out to Hayes, Les? I've never made that specific trip. I've driven through Hayes to get to Denver, I think, but I've never been out specifically to Hayes, with Hayes being the destination. But I tell you, man, I mentioned this last week. There's a surprising amount of confidence in the Oklahoma camp right now as it pertains to the recruitment of Brian Swanson, the 4-star offensive tackle from South Oak Cliff High School down in Dallas. And, man, I didn't know that I would ever see the day. I get that the roster quandary sort of demands this, the situation on the offensive line as far as depth or lack thereof. I didn't think I'd ever see the day where Oklahoma took 6 or even 7 offensive linemen in the 2027 cycle, or any cycle for that matter, but they're going to take 6 here in 27, and if they can get 7, they'll take 7. That number, it could be 8 too. Like, that's a conversation I've had with folks close to that whole operation. Is, hey, there might be room for even an 8th.
And, well, I mean, number one, they have 20 commits already, and they're looking for a 30-plus class. So is room even a bound that they're respecting right now? Like, is there too many for a class? And I know I'm being tongue-in-cheek with that when I say that, but offensive line, they need to load up on it.
Yep.
Because they're a little short on depth, especially at tackle right now. They only took 2 offensive linemen in the 2026 class. So you need to load up. Now, 8 seems, and I'm pretty sure you might agree with me on this, 8 seems rather extreme. That seems a little bit extreme for one position. But given that you're trying to even out some averages here, that you're already lacking going into the 2026 season, you didn't really address that very much in the 2026 recruiting cycle, it's almost a necessity that you take that many. I like what they're doing, even though that's a pretty lofty number.
Yeah, well, and I think the unspoken assumption there and the strong belief within the Oklahoma front office and amongst the staff is that if you bring in 8 and they're all guys that you've been intentional about evaluating both as players and as people, and you feel like all 8 of those guys are hits, the assumption that you're operating under is that you're not going to have to push any of those guys out later on down the line, which happens everywhere. And obviously, nobody's ever going to bat 1,000. Nobody's ever going to hit on 100% of their targets. Not everybody that Oklahoma signs in every single cycle is going to end up being a dude. But we've heard Jim Nagy talk very, very candidly about their process and about the fact that they've had guys that they've brought on visits, even official visits, and have decided not to pursue even further because they don't feel that they're a fit at Oklahoma for whatever reason. And so if this is a group of 7 or 8 guys that you've been incredibly careful and measured about evaluating as athletes and as people, and you feel like all of these guys are 10 toes down for the University of Oklahoma, you're never going to be able to control transfers that occur because guys want more playing time elsewhere or because they get paid more money, offered more money elsewhere. There's always going to be some level of off-season attrition in that capacity that you're just, you're going to have to bake that into the equation when you're trying to figure out what your numbers look like for the coming season. But one thing you can certainly cut down on, and it's a key objective for Oklahoma, is to be able to cut down on the amount of transfers that you have to give the gentle shove out of the nest to because they're not good enough to play at Oklahoma.
Yeah, but also there's the other side of that coin too, is that when you bring in so many, there will also be guys that leave on their own volition.
There will be.
Because there's just not enough snaps to go around, and you don't rotate in offensive linemen. That's just not how that works. So if you're bringing in so many, what if a bunch of the depth pieces, like say you brought in a bunch of dudes, and 2 or 3 of them may not be able to crack it at Oklahoma, but they could crack it at Kentucky or somewhere else like that in the Power 4. Like, what happens when 4 offensive linemen all of a sudden just go ahead and leave, and now you're kind of in that cycle of trying to replenish that depth over and over again? And this is not me saying that what Oklahoma's doing is wrong, because I agree with it given the current state of the numbers, but there is also the unplanned sort of result that could happen when you do something like this.
I also think that's part of the reason, though, why Oklahoma has placed such an emphasis upon recruiting offensive linemen that have position flexibility and versatility, and they can play multiple positions up front, because it's a lot easier to sell a guy on sticking around for an additional year rather than jumping in the transfer portal when you can point to multiple different potential paths to playing time for him because of the versatility that he brings to the table. And I think it goes without saying that on the offensive line in particular, you're going to have guys that drop off as just a natural byproduct of competition. But if somebody's losing the starting job, somebody's also winning it, right? And so some of these guys are going to hit. They're going to. Some of them may not, but the guys that become cornerstones, assuming they can stay healthy and assuming you can get 13 games a year out of them or something close to that, that really, really de-emphasizes the importance of having to be 12 or 13 deep with guys that are capable of playing. If that's ultimately where you get, then great. But realistically, if you can have what Oklahoma has right now, which is 5 rock-solid starters, and then I would say 4 or 5 guys off the bench that you feel comfortable throwing in there if they need to go in.
You think they have 5 guys off the bench that they'd be comfortable with right now?
Right now, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that's where they want to get.
In the future, yes. Yes.
Right now, I would say they probably have
what, like
2? Yeah, maybe 2 guys that aren't in that starting 5 that, you know, if somebody gets, if a Michael Fasusi or Ryan Foje goes down, okay, yeah, we'd be comfortable plugging this guy in. But I don't know that Oklahoma's more than like 7 deep right now on the offensive line. But if that's where you can get to where you have 9 or 10 guys, some of whom can play multiple positions, that you feel confident on any given Saturday can give you quality snaps against SEC opponents and hold their own in the trenches, that's realistically in this day and age as good as you can have it.
Yeah.
Because I think the days are gone, if they ever existed at Oklahoma or elsewhere, where you could have 12 guys on a roster that were all capable of playing high-level football on any given Saturday. I don't think that exists right now at OU. I don't know that that will ever exist at OU, just because of the reality of the portal and the reality of the market for players who are good enough to play somewhere, and start somewhere, even if that place is in Oklahoma. 405-651-3439 is the First Liberty Bank text line. You want to hit us up? Want to fire away with questions or comments? Please do so. We got one segment to come before we call it a wrap here on this Monday. Keep it here on the Ref. The home of Sooner fans. We'll be back.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is the Ref, home of Sooner fans.
Entrepreneurs in Moore, Norman, and South Oklahoma City have an experienced business partner in their neighborhood. Moore Norman Technology Center's workforce and economic development team understands the challenges entrepreneurs and small businesses face every day. From building an effective business model to hiring the right employees and managing cash flow, Moore Norman's business development experts can help you move forward confidently and thrive, knowing that you have a skilled partner at your side. Learn more about Moore Norman's Technology Center by calling 405-801-5000 or visit us online at mntc.edu.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Are you in need of purchasing your own health insurance? Are you turning 65 and confused about Medicare? Are you an employer looking at offering benefits to your staff? Call the agents at Allison Insurance. They'll sort through the confusion. They're not captive to just one company, and they'll get the best option for you. Don't get frustrated. Call Allison Insurance at 800-580-5587 or 745-2968. Allison Insurance. They are the experts.
Pub W in Norman isn't your average pub. Think crispy fried deviled eggs, bold burgers, and local beers on tap. All in a chill space perfect for watching the game or grabbing dinner with friends.
Located off of 24th Avenue, Pub W brings comfort food elevated. Pub W, your neighborhood pub. Tune in every Friday to hear more about the Hal Smith Restaurant Group during The Rush and the Dari Noka Show here on The Ref.
Hey, it's Dari Noka for Totally Tickets. Hey, Ref Army, you looking for the best place to buy tickets to your next OU game, Thunder game, or the best concerts? My friend Mike, call him Fletch at Totally Tickets has you covered. Visit TotallyTickets.com to find your event today. Oh, and good news, Ref Army. Just type in the promo code KREF and get up to 10% off your purchase. Go to TotallyTickets.com now. They are the best.
The Oaks at Mustang is now leasing. Conveniently located on County Line Road and the Turnpike in Mustang, The Oaks has spacious 1 and 2 bedroom apartments with large walk-in closets, package lockers, and even a sparkling pool. The Oaks is leasing now, so you don't want to wait. Contact The Oaks in Mustang on their website at theoaksatmustang.com or call 405-927-2566 to be where everyone will want to be. 405-927-2566 or online theoaksinmustang.com.
Friends and family are often the first to notice when a veteran needs help. In those moments, life can feel like the weight of the world is on their shoulders. Or like they are caught in a storm they can't escape. And the metaphors veterans often use for the challenges of life are not exaggerations.
I got you.
Extending a helping hand doesn't have to be just another metaphor. Learn how you could support the veteran in your life at MakeTheConnection.net.
Winning in business means having the right teammate. Stride Bank's commercial banking experts are here with treasury management, lending, and cash flow solutions designed to help your business score big. From local startups to established enterprises, we've got the tools and expertise you need. Visit stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC. Stride Bank on your team since 1913 with Oklahoma roots and nationwide reach.
I love you guys on the First Liberty Bank text line. Excuse me. General Booty's lieutenant checked in with us and said, "Breaking news: per Parker Thune, Mackenzie Aline will be a starting wide receiver, and alumnus Kennedy Brooks is a mouse." To be clear here,
I think we put that on a tweet because you did say that.
Hey, let's not. Let's be very careful here.
No, Parker did not say any of that.
I compared mice to Kennedy Brooks. I did not compare Kennedy Brooks to mice. It's an all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares type of thing.
Uh-huh.
But yes, mice are much like Kennedy Brooks in the sense that they thrive running through traffic, running through trash, as Brent Venables would say, but not all that hard to run down in the open field. You get a mouse in the open field, it's game over for the mouse.
Yeah.
He said, yeah.
I don't spend a whole lot of time chasing mice, but yeah.
That's good. I mean, if you don't got mouse problems, then consider yourself blessed.
I mean, I don't know how a mouse would get into my second floor apartment. I feel like I'd be doing a lot wrong with my life if that happened.
Shoot, to be fair, I don't know how mice got into my shop. There are no obvious points of entry, and yet they found a way.
But at least your shop is ground level, though. It makes a little bit more sense.
It does. It makes a little bit more sense. What else we got here on the First Liberty Bank text line? Corn Sooner wants to know, tell us about the Edge group. Who will make up that group? When might C.J. Nixon see the field? There could be snaps for C.J. Nixon in 2026. I'm a C.J. Nixon believer. To me, that's a guy that, I don't think he's a complete non-factor in the equation the way that Taylor Wine was in 24 before his breakout came in 25. But to me, I'm eyeing 27 as the C.J. Nixon year, if you will. The year that he becomes a much more serious player in the rotation because there's a good chance, Grayson, it's not a certainty, but there's a good chance Taylor Wine is off to the NFL after this coming season. He has the chance to be a very high draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
If he has another season this fall like he did last fall, we may be talking about a potential first rounder because NFL scouts, I know this for a fact, they already love Taylor Wine. And he was not a cheap guy for Oklahoma to retain either. He was not cheap.
Good.
He's a high-dollar football player.
Good. I mean, go get your money, brother. And when you look at how his measurables and traits translate to the NFL, you're talking about a dude who can beat you with speed. He can beat you with power. Oh, and by the way, we don't talk about this enough, Parker. He plays the run very well, too. Like, he's very good in gap control and setting the edge and things of that nature. So, I mean, you look at it, it's really hard not to say, and I know you've got to vote on this, it's really hard to keep Taylor Wine off of your preseason All-SEC ballot. Like, I think that's going to be a really hard thing to do, to keep him completely off of it because, I don't know about you, but, I mean, this is a dude that could approach double digits in terms of sacks this year.
Mm-hmm. Denver from Indiana says, Gabe and Teddy said Okoye looked awesome. And he does look awesome, man. He's always looked awesome. He is among the most purely gifted physical specimens on Oklahoma's roster. And you'd hope that this is the year where the production starts to catch up with the hype for Danny Okoye. Because he understands, and we got the chance to meet with him last week after practice. He said, look, I didn't have the greatest year last year. I got to play a decent amount, but it's basically it's go time for me. It's time for me to go show something. And if that's true of Danny Okoye, it's true to a much larger degree of PJ Adibawara.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about a little earlier. There's going to be some stiff competition for snaps in this edge group. And especially, I think, at that spot opposite Wine because the battle between Okoye and Adibawara is going to be a hotly contested one. You're going to see both guys. Assuming they're both healthy, they're both going to play. But one will obviously outpace and outsnap the other. We're not going to see a 50-50 split. At a certain point, we know that the way Venables and this staff operate, there's going to be one guy that they trust a little bit more than the other one, and that guy's going to start playing the majority of the snaps.
If I had to ask you to put money on it, who do you think is the guy that emerges as the starter opposite Taylor Wine?
Man, as much as I really want to say PJ, I kind of think it's Okoye right now. I kind of think your two starters at defensive end are Okoye and Wine. Now, my answer might be completely different 4 months from now. We'll see what happens in fall camp. And another guy.
And you got the right to do that, by the way.
And another guy that looks awesome, too, in that edge group, at least physically. Like, looks like $1 million. Looks like an NFL body. Is Kenny Azawalu. And he's going to play defensive end for Oklahoma. At least initially, that's the plan. He's a big old boy. I know there was some question when he first got to town, and we weren't even completely sure. Is he going to be a D end? Is he going to be a D tackle? For Oklahoma right now, he's an edge guy. But he's also he's a beefier edge guy. He's a strong side edge guy like Taylor Wine is. So what does the role look like for Azawalu in year one? How many snaps are there? He's an awesome dude to have around in the event that Wine struggles with injury or what have you, but you're going to see primarily two guys at those edge positions. You will see a lot of the second-team guys, but right now, if I had to guess who your first-team guys are at defensive end, I would say on the weak side, you're looking at Okoye. On the strong side, you're looking at Taylor Wine.
All right, then.
And I really, really like the prospect of Okoye being a weak side rusher because, like, from a physical standpoint, I'm not trying to say he's our Mason Thomas because he hasn't shown yet that he deserves that type of comparison, that type of height. But our Mason Thomas was 6'2", 250. Danny Okoye is 6'3", 260. With freakishly long arms and plenty of twitch. And, man, like, if it all hits for him in 2026, him off of one edge, Wine off the other, boy, that's going to be a handful.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about college sports, isn't it? Is that you can look at somebody and say, that's a dude, but it's actually got to click together, especially in a system like Brent Venables. Like, you can't just be a tailor-made athlete. Like, you got to be an actual football player. That's the inexact science of all of this once you get to this level.
Trucker P says, Parker, compare our running backs this upcoming season to rodents in terms of running style.
All right, what you got?
Oh, no, I'm not going to go. I need more time to think about that. Maybe later in the week. A listener in Kansas says, White, Stephen A. is absolutely right. Okoye will start opposite Wine. Man, I'm fighting the internal battle here because what I think will happen is overriding what I want to happen. And what I want to happen is for everything to come together for PJ because it would just be so validating and I think so enjoyable for so many Oklahoma football fans that have been waiting on the explosion for PJ as a former 5-star and a guy who played a lot as a true freshman in 2023 and built up for himself some really, really high expectations and is undeniably a freakish creature and an absolutely bonkers good overall athlete. Injuries haven't helped. The best ability is availability, as Brent Venables has said so often. But it's got to happen for PJ this year. It's got to happen. The good news is, and this kind of underscores the overarching point here, I don't think Oklahoma needs it to happen for PJ in 2026. They don't need 7 or 8 sacks from that guy. If it doesn't all come together, it doesn't all click, you got Danny Okoye. You got C.J. Nixon. You got Wyatt Gilmore. You got Jake Krell. And then, of course, on the other side, you got old reliable Taylor Wine with Kenny Azawalu probably backing him up.
Tanner LFC94 on the YouTube chat says, White Stephen A. is crazy.
I was watching Stephen A. last week, and I can't remember why. I can't remember why or in what context, but I don't consume a lot of Stephen A.'s content, but it was kind of disorienting. I was like, wow, we really do kind of have the same cadence.
Y'all do.
It's crazy because, like, among all of my influences over the years, I could rattle off a list of probably 15 to 20 guys that have exerted some sort of influence on my style, and Stephen A. Smith would not be on the list. But maybe it's just like an unconscious thing. I don't know. This has always just kind of been my natural speaking cadence, though. my parents, anybody who's known me for years and years will tell you this. I've kind of just always been like this.
Yeah, no, you guys don't have the same voice, but you
No,
do
we
have,
do not.
But you do have the same cadence and a pretty nice vocabulary too.
Yeah. Stephen A., man. Final text from Recruiting Boomer Parker. Is Jeremiah Newcomb going to play a key role in the DB room? He was killing it before the injury last season. Yes, he should. You should see a lot of Jeremiah Newcomb, assuming his rehab continues to stay on track. He's practicing in a no-contact blue jersey right now. I'm not sure whether he will be fully available for the spring game or not. But, yes, you will see Jeremiah Newcomb on the field this fall, probably quite a bit. And there's a chance you see him at both cornerback and at Cheetah. Oklahoma's been very intentional about getting him up to speed at that Cheetah spot so that Reggie Powers isn't the only capable option that you have. Because if Powers gets hurt, you got to figure something out. So Jeremiah Newcomb should be more than capable of playing that position at a high level too. All right, folks. Show number 1 of the week is a wrap. We will do it all again tomorrow. Same time, same place, right here on Locked In. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. The